In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to assemble the Thule wing bar edge, specifically for a Lexus LX570 or any vehicle that sort of has a flush rail kit. On Thule's website, if you go through their vehicle configurator and try and figure out what your vehicle needs, it'll produce one option for the Lexus LX570, but I was having trouble finding it because it's usually listed out of stock on their website, and I've been looking for it for the past few months. And then looking at the rails on it, the Lexus has the sort of flush rails that you'll see on like Tahoe Suburban, as well as many SUVs now are sort of going to those flush rail styles. So I did a little looking around and came across a different kit that seems to work just fine. So what we needed for parts wise for this was we needed two bars. I've got one fully assembled, and as you can see, I've got other parts out here. I'm going to walk you through how we're assembling those parts, but we need two rails, and then we needed parts kit 72061 and part kit 186044. I'm going to have all of these different parts kits listed down below. If you look, the rails are actually two different lengths. One was 95 centimeters, the other is 104 centimeters. That's because the rails on the vehicle sort of diverge as they follow the body line, so one needs to be a little bit shorter than the other. But this is everything you're going to get in the kit. The kits come with 4 of these sort of edge rail mounts, and then the other kit comes with these rubber feet and these 2 actual bracket pieces that are what hold on to the rails. And you get 4 of each in all the kits. The assembly is pretty straightforward, but I thought the directions weren't that great, so it's a little easier, I think, to just watch me do one. What's kind of neat is if you look on these tracks, there's letters, and they actually adjust in and out, so this is clearly able to fit multiple different vehicles with different rail lengths, and you just have to get the different feet styles depending on what vehicle you have. So stay tuned and we'll get to start assembling this. Hope you enjoy. So looking at our already assembled wing here, when we look at these feet, there's an orientation that they need to go into, and the back side of the bar has the Thule logo on it, so the front side is a little bit more rounded and it tapers off to the back. So that's the back side, and the feet are going to need to follow a specific orientation. And that is, if you look at this, there's a much flatter side and a more notched side, and the notched side is going to go on the back side of the bar. So we're going to follow that same orientation for setting up the second roof rack bar. I've already got one side in to just show you what it looks like when it is the beginning of the assembly, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through how we get the other side on. So it's going to show up in the box like this. What you need to do is just pull on the underside here, and it's going to come sliding off, which reveals this piece we need to slide in. Looking at this, there is a plastic push tab right here, which is pretty difficult to push down. That push tab is going to lock into place right here on the bar. So we're going to get this lined up, and looking at the end here, you can see there's sort of a groove. We're going to line this up with the groove, and then as you start to push in, that push tab is going to be there. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to push that down. It's pretty difficult to push down with your fingers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one side against the end of the couch, other side sort of on this table here, and I'm going to take the Allen key tool they included and use that to help me push it down, just so that I can get it started and get it underneath of that rail section. As you can see, it's hiding under there. And now all you got to do is you just got to take this and slide it all the way in until you hear a click. As you can see, that clicked in there, and now this is going to be able to slide, and you'll see there's letters. Those letters are going to come into play when we actually mount this on the car and getting the bar centered. So that's sort of what I'd call the first step, and now we'll move on to getting the feet mounted on the ends here. Alright, so looking at the end of the bar now, we're going to sort of set up the clamping mechanism for the roof rack rail, and if you look, these parts are labeled A, the rubber is labeled B, and this part is labeled C, which sort of follows what they have the diagrams and the directions as. So we're going to take the part labeled A first, and it's going to go on with this orientation as if it's going to clamp the inside of the roof rack rail. Then you're going to flip it over. You're going to take the roof rack rail feet and that's going to follow. So you can sort of match up if you're unsure whether it should go this way or this way. You can kind of see that it matches the footprint. So that's going to go on, and it clips into place. You can kind of see in here, there's the little rubber clips. Just push them up and make sure that they are somewhat clipped in. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the C piece, and that's going to hang over the top. So if you look, it hangs on the top there, and then we're going to get it over the threaded rod, and we're going to take these pieces, which were also included now. One end has an Allen key head, and then the other end has threads, and we're just going to lightly thread that on for now, just so that it's started and this isn't going to fall off on us. And then that's how you're going to set up the side. So we're going to repeat that on the other end, and then we're going to work on these covers and this rubber strip. All right, now that the mounting mechanism and the bar is mostly set up, we're going to look at the covers for the bar. What's included is sort of these dummy plugs, which have no key or anything. A separate kit that you can buy is a set of keyed locks. So that's what I purchased. Doesn't make it impossible to steal this off your roof by any means, but at least gives you a little bit of sense of security. So there's going to be a blank key that comes with the set, and then a key that actually has grooves. The blank key is the tool that lets you install these tumblers into your cover. So you're going to insert the blank key, and it's going to make the pins change directions. And then the way the pins that have changed directions, if you look here, there's a slot. You're going to insert this into the plastic cover, and then hold the back side and pull this key out. That's now sort of locked in place there. It's in the unlocked position, and then these slide on over the ends of the roof rack bar. Now for this rubber stripping, it comes together. What you do is you pull it apart, and it separates into two pieces. As you can imagine, with sort of the wind direction coming this way at us, if we're traveling on the highway, we're going to want these arrows to point into the wind. So then this is just going to snap into the first groove. There's two sets of grooves. The first groove is going to get snapped into by the arrow side, and then the other one is going to get snapped in. So all I did was I just got it lined up at one end, and you're going to start going down and just pushing it in. It's going to snap in. It's actually going to overlap the bar a little bit. If you look, it's not completely flush. This sort of forms a lip. You go all the way down, pushing that in, and then you're going to do the same on the back side. You're just going to get started at the end here. I'm going to push it into place. You'll see that it starts to snap in as you're going, and gives you a nice little flush seal. So we're going to do that all the way down, and then now you're pretty much ready to go out and get this mounted on your car. So to best demonstrate how you get these bars actually onto the car, as I showed earlier, this section is able to slide, and that's going to allow you to get the bar both centered as well as fit correctly to the width of the vehicle. So the two bar centimeter lengths I had was 104 and 95. You're going to need the longer one, the 104, in the front of the vehicle, because that's where it's a little bit wider, and then the 95 can be towards the back. So right now I have both this loose and this other nut loose. This nut is what's going to actually keep this bar locked in place once you get it set down. So I've got the one side hooked on. It was a little difficult to show that part, but now we're going to be able to slide this, sort of get it into place. The foot on the inside is going to grab the inside of the bar, and then the foot on the outside is going to be able to grab the outside of the bar and suck up nice and tight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten down this first, which will allow this to sort of get set into place, and then I'm going to go back and forth sliding the bar using the lettering system as needed to get it centered on both sides. Repeat the process for the back bar, and then I'll show you guys how we slide the cover on, and then we're pretty much done. Something that's nice is that the tool that's included is a 4 Newton meter, I believe. It sort of acts like a torque wrench. So you just torque this down until it clicks, and then you know that it's tight enough. A quick added note for me on the LX570 bar spacing, it ended up being P on the front bar and F for the back bar. Now to install the caps, it's rather simple. You can see there's a groove for the cap to attach and slide into. You're just going to set the cap into place and push it on, and then you're all set. So that really concludes the assembly and installation of these bars. As I mentioned, all parts required will be listed in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I will get back to you. See you guys in the next video.